Welcome to the Leaders Insights podcast. Today's episode, Buybacks versus Dividends, the capital return decision framework every CFO needs. Apple just authorized another $100 billion buyback this spring, and half the finance world clutched its pearls. So tell me straight, is a buyback a vote of confidence or a company that's run out of ideas?
It's both, depending on who's doing it. Apple buying back $100 billion when it's minting free cash flow, the cash left after paying the bills and investing, is confidence. A mature industrial doing the same to prop up its earnings per share while sales shrink? That's a company with no better use for the money and hoping nobody notices.
Earnings per share, the profit sliced across each share. Why does a buyback flatter that number?
Because you're shrinking the denominator. Fewer shares outstanding, same profit. So the per-share figure jumps even if the business did nothing. That's the trap. A CFO can hit a bonus target tied to EPS without creating $1 of real value. The board should be watching for exactly that.
So when I hear we're returning cash to shareholders, you're telling me to be suspicious.
Suspicious, no. Curious, yes. Ask what the alternative was. If the choice was buyback versus a factory that earns 20% and they chose the buyback, that's a confession. They don't believe in the factory. Cash return is the residual. It's what's left after you've funded every project that beats your cost of capital.
Fine, I'm a CFO. I've got $1 billion in surplus. Walk me through the actual decision. Buyback or dividend?
First question, is the stock cheap? A buyback only creates value if you're buying below intrinsic worth, what the business is actually worth. Buyback overpriced shares, and you've just torched your remaining holders' money. Warren Buffett said this for decades, and most CFOs still ignore it.
And if you can't tell whether your own stock is cheap,
Then you probably shouldn't be buying it. And a dividend is the honest move. The second question is durability. A dividend is a marriage. Wowser, cut it, and you get punished brutally. When Intel slashed its dividend by 2/3 in 2023, the stock got hammered and the signal was catastrophic. Management admitting the cash isn't there.
so dividends are sticky, buybacks are flexible.
Exactly. A buyback you can pause in a downturn and nobody sends flowers to the funeral. That flexibility is the whole point. If your cash flow is lumpy, cyclical, project-based, you want buybacks. If it's a utility with predictable rivers of cash, dividends make sense, and your shareholder base expects them.
Shareholder base, meaning who actually owns you changes the answer?
Enormously. Pension funds and retirees want the dividend check. It's income they live on. Growth investors would rather you buy back stock or reinvest because a dividend can be taxed the moment it lands. Buyback gains, they defer until they sell. Know your register before you decide.
Let me push. Companies borrowed cheaply for years to fund buybacks. With rates where they are in 2026, isn't that dead?
It should be. Borrowing at 6% to buy back stock yielding a fraction of that is financial vandalism, and yet some boards are still addicted. The discipline now is fund buybacks from genuine surplus cash, not the balance sheet. If you're levering up to shrink the share count, you're gambling, not managing.
Give me the tell. How do I spot a buyback that's actually smart?
Look at whether they buy more when the stock falls and less when it's expensive. Most do the opposite. They buy at the top because that's when cash is flush and stop at the bottom when they're scared. NVR, the home builder, is famous for buying countercyclically over 20 years, and their per-share value compounded beautifully. That's the model.
So the whole thing comes down to price discipline and knowing your own worth.
And knowing you can walk away. A dividend commits you. A buyback should only happen when the stock is cheap and the cash is real.
One takeaway for the CFO listening right now.
Before you announce any buyback, write down the intrinsic value per share and only buy below it. If you can't put that number on paper, pay a dividend instead.
Done. Want to know where you actually stand? Take the CFO self-assessment at mba-training.com.